All right, and welcome back for another episode of Carnivore Trades. Today is Thursday, June 2nd, 2022. If you like the content, give the video a thumbs up, comment, subscribe to the channel. If you're interested in swing trading alerts and analysis, come find me on carnivoretrades.com. In any case, market's having another nice day here, up 2% on the spiders. Triple Q's up just under 3%, two and three quarters actually. Dow up 1.25, but we don't care about the Dow. It's a price cap weighted index. We want to see the Nasdaq and the Russell leading, and that has been the case, and we've kind of made note of that lately. See the spiders here, nice little pop here. So we talked about this the last couple of days, little inside bar pattern starting to flag and now getting a pop. So I do see upside at least to probably that 425 handle here, and that would coincide with this daily 50 moving average there on the SPY. That area will be pretty stiff resistance. Now we've only consolidated for 2-3 days really, so that will be stiff resistance. The question is, do we pull back off of that and consolidate and make a higher low? If we do that, I think you have upside to this area in 432, 435, somewhere in that range. If it gets rejected, then obviously that's a different story. We probably head down to the lows here. My guess is, and I've been telling my traders this really the last week or so since we broke out of this beautiful falling wedge here, I think that a lot of traders are going to short right here. And I think that may provide a little bit more squeeze fuel. That's kind of my sort of thought moving forward. It doesn't mean that's guaranteed to happen. That's just my sort of theory here for what I think happens in the near term. Now, it could easily roll over, but we'll have to take it one step at a time. We could today could be a bear trap or a bull trap, honestly. If we take a look at the VIX here, they've been trying to bid the VIX up all day long, and that's really the only blemish here on this nice up day we've had. Now the VIX is looking like, so we're closing in about a minute here, so VIX will close below this pivot here from May 4th, which is a key level. So they have been trying to get the VIX off the lows. Looks like they're unsuccessful. We've hammered on this trend line so many times. I think the VIX wants to head down to 23. That would take you to that 200 MA, big green bar there. That's where you broke out of, 200 MA, 23 handle. That will probably coincide, with this area here on the spiders that we're watching. So that 425 area on the triple Qs, same area, 320, maybe 323, somewhere in that range. Maybe 317 if the Nasdaq does turn a little bit weaker. It has been weaker with the exception of the last week or so. It's been weaker all year, but it has outperformed. So maybe it switches over again. But again, you see these pivots here, and that coinciding with this red bar. So right in that 320, 317 area will be some resistance. Doesn't mean it can't overshoot a little bit. We got a nice move today from Tesla. There's the closing bell here. So spiders finishing up 1.89%. Triple Q is 2 3/4, so Tesla got a nice bid here. Apple pushing up to the close, back above 151 now, so nice move there for Apple. And another thing I kind of mentioned here, you guys know I was talking about Russell 2000 not making new lows with the market. Also, stocks like ARK not making new lows with the market. IGV, which had a really nice day today, by the way, not making lows last week. Whereas after this, after they didn't, they kind of had the zigzag up pattern here. IGV, ARK, right, same thing. And big tech was kind of lagging. Now it's starting to look like, if you look at Apple here, it's starting to look like Apple is, maybe consolidating here, and maybe big tech is going to have the zigzag up now. You got the growth stocks, they had the zigzag up, and now it's maybe big tech's turn to have that pop. I like Apple up to about 155 here, back testing this trend line and that red bar breakdown area. If it gets through that, you got a necktie with the 50 and 200 moving average. But Tesla, same kind of thing as well. So it went up off the lows, consolidated for a few days, and now maybe putting in kind of a zigzag ABC type up move. So that will be interesting to watch here. I do, again, like I've been saying, I give the market the upside bias here, probably to 425 on the spiders now. And triple Q is at least 317, but possibly 320 and maybe a little bit higher if we overshoot to a degree here. Russell 2000, again, we had a nice day here, up 2.4%. On the IWM, that is a lot closer to resistance. So see these pivots here and this red bar and that 50 day moving average. So that's a lot closer to resistance. Now it will be up tomorrow if the market is up, but it's got a little bit less room to go in my book. So looking for a little bit less upside there, but it looks like big tech is going to kind of bring up the rear. And remember, last year we talked about how, ARK, had really been in a bear market since January or so of 2021, whereas stocks like Apple really took it until November, December of last year to start selling off. Tesla, you can see the same thing, Microsoft. So big tech was the last ones to sell, and now it looks like they're the last ones to bounce here. So that is kind of what I'm looking at moving forward. Microsoft also, by the way, a bit of a bear trap this morning, adjusting their guidance. Market didn't like that at first. Ended up being a great buy. The dip is Microsoft finished up 79 basis points today after gapping lower. Another thing that I found very interesting today was, I don't have it in front of me right now, but the 400 put on the Spider expiring tomorrow had a ton of volume this morning. And I mean, like well over 100,000. And it looked a lot like retail volume. And it just, it just told me that, again, this is why I've been kind of calling for a little bit more upside here, is it looks like retail is trying to short here. And, what I've been saying over the last week, don't short a dull market, guys. Look at the volume here. Look at the VIX declining. The volume is light. The market wants a relief. Don't get in the way of it until it gets to resistance. If you want to short up here, I feel a lot better about it in this area when you're in resistance. But don't just short it into no man's land because, the Fed is doing quantitative tightening, so the market has to go down. Well, what do you think the market was pricing in for the last 7 weeks, guys? So you got to think about these things. Not saying you guys do it. Most of you guys are smart. Anyways, let's move on here before I start rambling too much. Semiconductors leading the charge today, up 3.53. NVIDIA monster day here, up 7%. So just shy of 200 now. I have upside on this too, believe it or not, up to potentially 220. It will have a little pit stop right in this area, but I think it can get to 220, and that's basically just a 50%. Fib retrace from here to here, by the way. What a monster level. I showed you guys this level. What a monster level this is here. Excellent buy zone there on NVIDIA. And it initially sold off after hours on earnings, and it popped right back up. That's usually a really good sign, really good bullish indicator. And you can see NVIDIA getting some nice follow through. AMD up nicely as well. Big pop there, up 7.28%. Showed you cloud software a few minutes ago, but look at that pop there, continuing higher. Salesforce really followed through. So they had kind of a, it backed off of that 50 moving average, finished with kind of a weak kind of doji, held the gains, but it, finished off the highs. Now today getting above that 50, closing above that candle high, and looks like above this pivot as well. So that helped out. Oracle was a little bit of a laggard here, got a bid towards the end, but Adobe really got a bid off of that. ServiceNow, Cloudflare, they're all loving it. Atlassian, so nice move there for the cloud sector, and a good job Salesforce coming through there. Dell Transport's here. Pretty much up in a straight line, just like everything else was today. Again, same pattern. Tail candle up, 1-2 pullback and a pop here. And this is, it's going to run into some resistance up here. It did consolidate a little bit, so maybe you can get up to that 14.8 handle, but I do expect it to stall out there in the short term. Overall, not, nothing terrible here on the transports. 10-year here. So we talked about that negated kind of head and shoulders. So we closed above that neckline yesterday. We do have a trend line here potentially though. So if this does come down, you could make a case that we could trigger, an actual or another head and shoulders. This one would actually be a little bit cleaner too. But again, it's premature. It hasn't triggered yet. It's, it's not even really entertain it, but it's there. And regardless, whatever type of pattern it is, the bottom line is, if we break these pivots, we're going lower. So that's really what we're looking at here. But either way, nice little interesting development there on the TNX. And really a quiet day, so nothing much to talk about there. However, the dollar and some other inflation plays did pull back a little bit, which we'll get into it in a second. 30-year also very quiet. And high yield debt, HYG getting a nice bid here, coming off the lows there. So let's move on to, home builders also getting a nice bid here today. XHB up 2.33%, not quite taking out this high. So again, a weaker sector here. ITB, same kind of thing, not getting above this high. So again, weak sector, but that's what you come to expect here. And VNQ getting a nice pop. Maybe this has upside to this gap fill or that 102 area, but I don't see too much past that at the moment. XLF, JPM got a really nice bid here into the close, up 1.6. XLF, so again, same kind of pattern across the board, right? Up move, sideways consolidation, starting to do a little back-end filling and starting to flag up. We're seeing this across the board. Broker dealers also got a nice bid into the close again. Up, 1-2 pullback, pop. We just talked about JP Morgan, nice bid into the close there. So same pattern there for the Finns, and don't really see any issues at the current time. So nothing wrong when you see the financials and the NASDAQ taking leadership. All right, so energy here. So energy did back off a little bit early, and then crude kind of reversed. Crude's just been all over the map lately. So we went up here, we tagged that 120 handle. We knew that was going to be resistance. It pulled back in pretty sharply. Kind of had a bit of a nothing burger yesterday. Then it looked like it wanted to fade today, and then all of a sudden it just reversed. So a lot of volatility. If you look on the intraday here, I mean, just look at the moves. I mean, selling all the way off, bear flagging, failing, coming back, big drop and pop, and then a bid here into the close. So crude really all over the map right now. I give it the upside bias right now. I think it probably has to do some backing and filling if it's going to challenge this red bar, but it's holding up well and the trend is up. XLE, on the other hand, a little bit of an inside day. So this is a bullish development actually for the market. The fact that energy is finally not leading and tech is leading, that's usually a good sign. I mean, we've had XLE basically propping up the spiders for really months now. It's been one of the only bright spots, and to see it actually red on a day where tech is taking the leadership is a good sign here in the near term. Again, we're not saying this lasts forever, but a little tidbit to pay attention to there. XOP and OIH also flattish to positive there on the XOP. OIH flattish negative. Nat gas, not too much going on, down 2%. It's still inside of this pivot high. Nothing really to say. Trend is up. If it breaks down through this pivot, you'd have a lower low finally. So maybe it gets down to that 750 handle and that 50 MA, but we'll see. It's just holding up really well and hard to do anything with it at the moment. Dollar index. So briefly mentioned this earlier. So the energy plays starting to lag a little bit, except for crude. The dollar has been all over the map the last 3 days. So I said originally Tuesday, I was like, it really kind of got a weak bounce off of this 50 MA. Then yesterday it followed through, so it kind of made up for that. And now today reversing again. So this is, kind of going along with my thesis here. I think the dollar is in backing and filling mode, and I think it is going to be heading down lower here, but it probably needs to consolidate a little bit more so. What asset does like that right now is gold, and I was really rooting for this to do a little bit more flagging here. It got a nice pop today at 1.35%. See that nice up move, little flag pattern, little test candle below the 200, closing back above it, and a nice pop there on gold. So I give that the upside bias to about 1900. Another thing that is good for gold today is GDX got a bid. We mentioned Yamana the other day now in buyout talks here, so that continued higher. But GDX confirming here with 4.28% gain, reclaiming the 200 moving average. So maybe that wants to get up to that gap fill area in the near term, but a nice move there for GDX. Silver also up 2%, so recovering from that kind of ugly reversal the other day. Got back above the 20 yesterday, and a nice pop today, still below this tail high, but I'll give it the upside bias to about 23 bucks. So nothing terrible there. Platinum, on the other hand, surged really hard today. So up almost 3% here, got above these pivots right there. And, we talked about this little trend line breakout. So nice move. Probably going to stall out around that 1050 handle, but nothing terrible there. And Palladium, on the other hand, a little bit quieter here, up just 2% and still below that trend line. Copper, 5% move for copper today. Holy cow. So this is a big move for a base metal like this. I mean, this does not happen often. So this obviously surged through really all my price targets. I was saying, if it flags up, it can get up to that maybe 450 handle, and just a surge through that entire area, just cut right through all those moving averages pretty much in one shot. We'll see if it can hold the gains tomorrow, but a nice move there. Remember, the weekly close is going to be important. So, but if it can reclaim all these moving averages and close up here on a weekly basis, it will have reclaimed trend on the weekly time frame. So nice pop there for copper, just a huge move overall. Let's take a look at Southern Copper here. Yeah, nice bid there today on Southern Copper. Freeport Mac, yeah, up 5% as well. So big bid there for spot copper, and didn't exactly see that coming, I have to admit. It definitely exceeded my price targets, but nice pop there. All right, Bitcoin. Really a quiet day. I think this is totally decoupled at this point. This is, you have a nice move up here. This is your pop, And you could make a case that it coincides with this candle right here. Then you have a 1-2 pullback and an up move on the SPX. But I mean, look how weak it is in comparison. So I mean, Bitcoin, honestly, at this point, I know I was saying maybe 36, 38,000. I don't even know if it can get past 34 at this point, unless something changes really like immediately. Maybe over the weekend we can get a low liquidity bid. You know, Ether down here as well. It is kind of, you know, it is kind of putting in that, I guess you can call it a flag pattern. I mean, it's very soft. It did close above this red bar, so I like that. You know, as you close back above the breakdown bar. But overall, just the whole sector just looks weak to me right now. And if it is still positively correlated, it's on the weaker side. So it's no longer useful as a leading indicator here in the near term. All right, anyways, so yeah, just wrap it up here. Again, we're looking for a little bit more upside here in the market. I wouldn't advise putting on any new positions. I haven't taken any trades this week. I've just been riding out winners and runners and letting them run. We're now getting close to resistance here, so you don't want to be too greedy. You know, just peel back risk on the way up, and you know, that's how we do it. If you want to find out how I do it, come find me on carnivoretrades.com. Take the course if you like. It's awesome. Total mind-blowing information in that. Anyways, you guys take care. I will talk to you all tomorrow.